Hello and a big welcome to the Human Nervous System Part 2 video. This is your Mauli sir signing in. Today we shall discuss about the very interesting topic with regards to the human nervous system. Human nervous system, actually yesterday in the other video we had discussed about the classification. It is broadly divided into central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomous nervous system, to recall once again. Yesterday we had talked about the concept of human brain. Now we shall discuss in detail about the peripheral nervous system and autonomous nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is again divided into cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves, the name indicates that these nerves, they take their origin in the brain. So in the cranium, from yesterday's class, we know that the cranium is the bony box that lodges the brain inside. So the nerves that emerge, that originate from the brain, are said to be the cranial nerves. There are 12 pairs in number, starting from the olfactory nerve, ending in the 10th cranial nerve is very important to note here. It is called as vagus, which brings the command from the brain to the heart for heartbeat. And again, another branch of it is connected to the pancreas for release of insulin. So this vagus is said to be a very important nerve that emerges as the cranial nerve. So the 12 pairs of cranial nerves serve different purposes. The olfactory nerve, the optic nerve, so on they go. Now we shall discuss about the spinal nerves now. Spinal nerves are those nerves which emerge out from the ganglion present on the spinal cord that runs down all along the trunk at the center in a groove in the vertebral column. There is a central canal in the vertebrae through which the spinal cord descends down onto the abdomen, that is the waist. Now these spinal nerves are spread all over the body, over the surface of the body. Actually, when we speak about or when we talk about nerves, we get it out. What actually is the function of these nerves? Are all nerves the same? No. Nerves majorly are of three kinds. They are sensory nerves. These are also called as afferent nerves. The second one is the motor nerves. These are also called as efferent nerves. And the third one is mixed nerves. Let us talk about this in detail. The afferent nerves are the sensory nerves. These, they actually get the information from outside. That is, they receive the information. They take the information to the nerve centers. There, the data is processed. That is, the message that has been brought in by the sensory nerves is processed in the nerve centers. This processing results in the emergence or in the generation of a response, and this response is carried to the effector organ through another nerve called as motor nerve. So sensory nerves bring in the stimuli, the stimulus is processed and then the response is generated, and this response is taken over to the concerned effector organ for reaction through the motor nerves or the efferent nerves. So the functions of these nerves is clear. The efferent nerves bring in the stimuli, that is the message, and the motor nerves carry the responses to the concerned organs, concerned effector organs for reaction. As such, both the nerves are very vital in the functioning of the body. Then what about the mixed nerves? Here the mixed nerves perform both the functions. So these are very important than the other ones. The sensory nerves, also called as afferent nerves, the motor nerves, which are also called as efferent nerves, and the mixed nerves constitute the nervous system in our body. Now there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves spread all over the body. With regards to the functioning of the spinal nerves, it is a very key note to talk about the reflex arc. Why? our body experiences certain reactions without the intervention of the brain activity. Naturally, when we say brain is the center for control and coordination of all the functions of all the organs inside the body. However, at times, without the intervention of the brain, certain reactions are shown by this body. These are spontaneous, means suddenly occurring reactions. So, in one word to put, the responses evoked by the spinal cord without the intervention of brain activity is called the reflex arc or reflex action. The pathway of this action resembles to that of an arc, so it is called as reflex arc. The pathway of reflex action in an arc is called reflex arc. So the reflex arc occurs like this. There is a receptor organ. Unknowingly, we have stepped onto some thorn. From the place of the stimulus, that is at the juncture where the thorn is pricking the skin on the leg, the message is taken over into the center of the spinal cord where an interneuron is present. The sensory neurons take the information. There the information is processed by the interneuron and a response is evoked. This response is taken to the effector organ. It need not be the same for the receptor and the effector. So receptor means the place where the stimulus is absorbed or stimulus is taken in, whereas the effector organ is the organ which shows the response. Suppose we have stepped on to a thorn or some sharp-edged stone. Suddenly we retract our leg. Without the intervention of the brain, in a fraction of a second, our body is responding. This is due to the reflex action shown by the nervous system. So reflex action involves majorly 5 parts. The first one is receptor, the second one is interneuron, the third one is motor nerve or the first one is receptor, the second one is sensory nerve, the third is interneuron, which is also called as accessory neuron, and next is a motor neuron called as efferent nerve, and the fifth one is effector organ. I repeat once again. The receptor, the sensory neuron, the interneuron, the motor neuron and effector organ constitute the reflex action or the reflex arc. The pathway of reflex action resembles to that of an arc. So this is called as reflex arc. Now this is a sudden and spontaneous reaction shown for a stimulus by the spinal cord without the intervention of brain activity, and hence it is called as reflex action. Now let us move on to the autonomous nervous system. Autonomous nervous system comprises of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system refers to the speeding up of the action without the activity of the brain. Actually, to say this is an abnormality. When we say that it is autonomous, here the nervous system is functioning without the intervention of brain. Brain is a core element of central nervous system. Inside the brain, as told in the other video yesterday, there are several functions that is carried out by different parts of the brain. There are neural centers which coordinate and control the several activities that are going on inside the body. But here, when it comes to the functioning of autonomous nervous system, this is entirely different. Nowhere the brain has got an intervention there. It has no role to play. So autonomous nervous system, it is an abnormal behavior of the nervous system. Here, all the metabolic activities are speeded up. This speed will be fluctuating and hence the person experiences lot of trouble. The rate of digestion, the rate of responding or rate of any metabolic activity will be different. It is not kept constant. There is a very, very brisk operation with regards to the metabolism inside the body when this situation occurs. This is an abnormality. And lastly, the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system refers to the condition where all the metabolism is gradually slowed down completely, and then the person will be seen very lethargic, means very lazy, very slowly he reacts. In this case, lot of interventions are sought psychologically. So the person behaves in an abnormal way. There is no proper reaction. There is no proper response from the person even when there are strong stimuli. Naturally, because of the proper functioning of the body, when brain is at work, the person reacts spontaneously. Even during the reflex action, there is a spontaneous response, whereas in parasympathetic nervous system, during the autonomous nervous system organizes itself, the body becomes so slow that the person fails to react even to the strongest stimuli. Even when the body is getting damaged, he will not be in a position to give response. This leads to death at times. Gradually, the person will be losing the pace of metabolism. So the nervous system slowly breaks down during this system. And in abnormal conditions such as the psychological disorders, commonly referred to as possession in rural areas, where people generally complain that they are possessed with some spirits. Those people will be behaving in a different manner. This is a resultant factor of parasympathetic nervous system activation. Gradually, there is a degradation of the nervous activity. This leads to the dysfunctioning of the total body systems. There is a slowdown of the pace of the metabolic activities such as respiration, the digestion, the excretion, everything. The person will fail to take food in time. The person will be seen naturally lagging behind in all the activities. And this is a situation where people fail to understand what is going on. The brain loses complete command over the body systems. And this is said to be the failure of the system. So, parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system are a part and parcel of autonomous nervous system, which should never be expected to happen in any person. Now, with this concept, I end up my lesson for today. Thanks for listening, and we shall meet with more details in the next video to come. Thank you very much. This is Mowgli signing off for today. Thank you very much.